What's up, everybody? I thought a great video today would be the difference between Call of War and Conflict of Nations, so stay tuned. Thought a great place to start would be to review the military units. So if you come into the research window, you're going to see the difference right here in just the actual trees, right? So if we look at research on here, you're going to take a look at Call of War. A little more rustic looking, I would say, not quite as up to date, but Call of War does a little bit better of a job. It just, as I look at it, it's easier for me to understand, right? They still have the same tags up top, but the groups are a little bit confusing as opposed to looking on Khan and seeing infantry, tanks, there's support. On here, when you look at support, you're going to have to go down. On the armor side, you can have artillery or anti-air on the armored side, or you can go infantry, anti-air. So it's just the way you look at it. Whereas on Conflict of Nations, you can come into here, you're going to see your artillery units and your air defenses here, right? So and when you mouse wheel, it goes to the right, so you can see the days at the top keep moving and go to the end. So some units are not available. The difference with Call of War is that they seem to be available a little quicker. And then when you go to a specialized unit, you're going to need airdrops to be able to, or the blueprints here, to be able to get them. If not, you're going to have to buy them. So a little bit more pay to win on the side of Call of War when it comes to this sort of thing. And so I like the difference. I just prefer this method. Now, it could be that I'm biased just because I've played Conflict of Nations a little bit longer. But I do, it is easy to get in here and figure this out. I didn't like the secret one. It was just kind of weird. Nuclear power, and then, it just kind of went off in a direction. But I understand it because there's the nuclear battleship and submarines and everything, right? So that's the difference in the military units. As far as the map itself, when you look at it, I think I've got to give the edge to Call of War on this side. It's easier for me to see just when I'm looking on the map. I play on a big monitor, and I don't have to... It's just a little more clear. I can see where the units are on the map a little bit better than here, as they're stacked differently and move around. Just again, it's a personal preference, right? If I look at just the GUI here and the way things operate, I think it's going to be pretty tilted towards Conflict of Nations for me. The only reason is that the way things interact on the map itself, I don't know how to give you a good example of that. Probably best on movements, right? I would say on Conflict of Nation, troop movement's a little bit easier. When you click on the stack, I like the way it highlights around. Of course, it's a naval unit, but when I hit the move button, it's easy for me to get in here and hit these spots. See how it clicks in? I move closer, bam, and it just goes right to that actual thing. If I go on Call of War and I'm trying to move a unit here, let's say I try to move this guy here, like there's no click in. See how you gotta be right on top of it for it to go, and it makes my guys, when I move them, I can sometimes be just a little bit off of this X mark down here, and then when it comes to your troops combining to make a stack, it could make a difference for you. So just a slight variation, but I want to highlight that again. So if we look at this one on the con side, like I can get just kind of close, bam. It's way out here to get close to make sure that I'm going to be able to hit the exact point on there and group my units together. Now, when you get close to a city and you zoom in, now it's not going to make as big a difference, right? Like, you're going to come in here and zoom in. If I go back to Call of War and I zoom in, I'm going to be able to get pretty close on here. But I don't like to zoom in too far, because when I zoom in and play, I tend to miss units that I can group together. So just another small variation, and that's going to be a personal preference on the player side. As far as researching, as far as building in the provinces, right? It's kind of similar. I like the way that Call of War has it's very similar to Conflict of Nations, so it's easy to swap between the two games, right? It's not a huge variation. So if I need to come in and I need to stack them by the actual VP value here, you can do. This one offers morale and a resource and a manpower, like where you get the most manpower out of. Now that could tilt it in your favor if you're looking to boost this here. It's easy, right? So if I'm going to try to boost manpower, I can go into here, and now I can find which actually boost manpower. So if I come back in, I'm not going to get see manpower production. I'm going to be able to look at the barracks and say, wow, if I need more manpower, I need a higher barracks. I can go in, click on build barracks, and then I know I'm going to get my what is it, level 2. So I'm going to be able, wrong one. Well, the barracks is now going to be off of there because we've maxed it on there. So it will also tell you combinations of things you need. So if I need more here on the resource side, I can come back in and I can find which one will give me more resources. It's going to be right here, resource production on the industrial complex, because this is critical, right? This resource here is the if I highlighted it's rare materials, it's critical to learning stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, great. I'm going to come in here and boost the industrial complex on that one because it's one of the harder ones to boost up if you see what you need. And if it ties it back into research and I go, let's say if I wanted to go build heavy armors, it's going to cost me 4,900. I can start researching, but you can see how you start to dip in this category really quick. So that's okay. But what if I go to the market and I come in and I look at rare? Okay, well, great. There's some for sale, but they cost 30 a piece, right? Now, this is a very big variation between the two. I'm going to hold off on the actual economics of it until I get through the province administration for Call of War. But I do like this menu. It's very quick. So let's say I need to build, look at all this stuff right here, but I don't have anything in production. It's really easy to get in and see what I can build and go, okay, I can build a medium tank here, or I can build a tank destroyer. I'm going to build a few tank destroyers because I've been in a battle with Libya, and that'll be in a separate video, a separate update on part 2 for the Call of War. And again, I can come down here, produce some more tank destroyers, come down here, let's produce some more. It's really easy to flip through and say, oh, okay, well, I don't have what's necessary. So I look at the buildings and I could click on the actual building here and say, can I build more tanks in there? No worries. I'm going to be able to go back, build a light tank there. I've got enough infantry, guys, in this match. So, and I'm not going to go do a full build because obviously we're just doing the difference between the two. If I go to Conflict of Nations and I zoom back out and do my city view here, which again is the province list in the other game, then I can actually do a very similar thing, which is click on there and go through. But what I like is that there's more options here, right? I do have the manpower, and I do have the resource production, but I also have population levels and victory points. So it gives me a little bit more of an overview on what I need to do. Now, in this game, we are like incredibly out in front. Like all 5 of us are in the top in the world, and you can see how this game is going to be over very quickly. That's a whole other video that we're going to do, but I wanted to show you how that matters, right? So if I come in here and I look at what needs to happen in my cities, we're so far ahead that I just need to build some manpowers, boost my city values as I'm taking more provinces. That's going to allow me to have more VP on the side, right? That's a side note. If I wanted to build in here now and I look and I go, wow, Florence is got a lot, but if I look at my victory point value, it's going to typically be your main cities, but wow, Bangkok, Medan, Medellin, like some of these bigger point value cities on here, that's all going to translate to what we have on our overall VP. But you can build the same way, right? So if I wanted to build something in here, I know this game's going to be over soon, so I'm going to build a recruiting office, which takes 31 minutes. That way I can boost my economic value. You can see those in both province lists, right? So if I wanted to come in here and build something really quick, I could just look at my timer here and go down and say, okay, well, there's nothing I can build with that. But this, now we're getting out of buildings and into militia, right? So I want to stick and say, what's the least amount of time I can build something? Oh, an airbase. Now this is for end game. When you're within 2 or 3 days of finishing, you can go in here and look at your timers, and both of them offer the timer option, right? So showing the difference between the 2 games on there. As far as the games themselves play, I do prefer the play style in Conflict of Nations, and I'll show you why. Right. So when I come in here to build, I'm only going to be able to build on anything that is not here, right? So it's going to be your homeland cities and anything that you've annexed, right? So the difference in Call of War is that I can build in any thing that I occupy. You can see, look, all these barracks and stuff. So when you looked at Call of War, the big difference is you're going to be able to produce a lot of units in Call of War, and you're going to have a lot of action on the map, and you're going to have bigger battles, right? That's also a preference for you. If you like that, if it's a quicker style of play, you're gonna probably like Call of War a little bit more. Conflict of Nations is a little bit more strategy. It's a little bit more drawn out. It's not going to enable you to build a bunch of units really fast. So on the Conflict of Nations side, it's going to be a complete strategy, and it's going to be, you're going to have to think things through, and you're not going to be able to just move and forget everything, right? Like, it's just not going to happen, right? So not a big deal, though. It's just the difference in play style, and if you prefer the other side, that's the same. As far as how to win the game on either side, that's going to be easy too, right? It's just based off of your diplomacy menu, and it's based on your total provinces on here, and depending on which game you're playing within the game. So you know, that could happen as well. So you can see I'm at war with two countries. I tried to make peace with Southern United States, but they just want to fight. I don't know why, but they just want to fight. So hopefully you guys, you know, have this video made sense. I wanted to highlight the two different games. I'm still searching for the best battle game that I can play, right? So really like Conflict of Nations, really like the style, but I'm looking for anything new. What are you guys playing? Send those to me in the comments and let me know what you're seeing around, because probably there's something new that I haven't seen yet. All right, hope you guys are having a great weekend. Thanks.